Welcome to Sapphic Nook, the cozy nook on YouTube, where we simply love celebrating the beauty of Sapphic love stories in movies and television. Whether you're here because it's amazing to see real and wholesome connections come alive on screen, or are just hunting for your next binge-worthy watch, we have got you covered. Now, we're finally talking about something super exciting. The top 10 Sapphic movies worth binge-watching in 2025. If you're ready to find yourself amidst tales that will keep your heart racing, your face aching from smiling or literally crying, then just stick around and let's get into it. Just before movies themselves, it's key to really contextualize why Sapphic stories mean so much. Obviously, love stories have been on screens for decades now, but good Sapphic representation can offer something uniquely stunning. It is way more than two women in love nuances, chemistry. The way these films weave resilience and self-discovery and authenticity into the arc in some of the best. These aren't just love stories, they're human stories. Representation matters because it reminds us all that love knows no bounds. To lesbian women, it's about seeing themselves reflected on screen in all their complexity and depth. And for everyone else, it is a window to experiences they will never have to live themselves, yet surely can find empathy with. And hey, who doesn't love a good love story? Now let's get into what actually makes a Sapphic movie worth binge-watching. Of course, there is the chemistry between the leads, but it is also about the story in the way that it's told, the emotional beats, the world the characters have lived in. A great Sapphic movie should draw you in with authenticity, keep you enthralled by the drama, and then finally leave you satisfied because the love story felt earned. Another big factor is how the movie portrays its characters. Gone are the days when Sapphic characters were relegated to tragic endings or token roles. Today, we're seeing nuanced portrayals. Strong women, vulnerable women, quirky women, and everything in between. And when these characters feel real, it's impossible not to get invested in their journeys. One thing that sets Sapphic movies apart is the fact that they seem to capture all of the emotions that come along with love. From the butterflies in your tummy of a first glance down to the bittersweetness of conflict. What it is to love and be loved, raw and true. And it's not just about romance. These movies often tackle themes like self-acceptance, friendship, and even family dynamics, making them relatable on so many levels. Whether you're in the mood to laugh, cry, or just feel all the feels, Sapphic cinema delivers. So what can one expect from the movies on this list? Well, let's just say there's something for everyone. We've got heart-tugging dramas that'll have you reaching for the tissues, quirky comedies that will make you laugh out loud, and even a few surprises you might not be expecting. Each film on this list offers something new to say about love and storytelling, and we can't wait to share them with you. But hey, we're not here to spoil it for you. It's just the beginning, and that's where the magic really happens when you sit down to watch these brilliant stories unfold. So grab your favorite snacks, maybe a box of tissues, and get ready to fall in love with Sapphic cinema all over again. And finally, before we get to the list, we'd love to hear from you. What are some of your favorite Sapphic love stories? If you have any recommendation for us to read, make sure to drop those down in the comments section below. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode from Sapphic Nook. This is only the beginning of this amazing journey, and we're so glad you're here to share it with us. Get cozy and let's bear witness to love in all its beautiful forms. 1. The Wedding Banquet, 2025. Get ready to dive into a story that redefines love, laughter, and family bonds. What happens when cultural expectations collide with the complexities of the heart? Welcome to Sapphic Nook, your home for Sapphic love stories and more. Today, we are talking about one of the most highly anticipated remakes of the year that is going to make you smile, laugh, and sometimes tear up. The remake of Ang Lee's classic romantic comedy, The Wedding Banquet, 2025. Hang on as we unpack why this movie is an absolute must-see. The Wedding Banquet had first created a stir in 1993 when it was directed by Ang Lee. Groundbreaking for both its LGBTQ+ themes and for the cultural clash that it represents, these kinds of stories were pretty rare at the time. Well, fast forward to 2025, and this remake not only pays homage, but also reimagines it in a new era. From the mind of Andrew Ahn, a filmmaker known for deeply personal stories, comes this new adaptation starring Lily Gladstone, Kelly Marie Tran, and Bowen Yang. Each one of these actors puts new energy into and brings nuances to a timeless story about love, identity, and family expectations. But here's the real question. Can love conquer all when tradition and personal truth are at odds? This movie dives headfirst into that emotional crossroads, and trust us, you'll want to see how it unfolds. At the heart of the matter, The Wedding Banquet is ultimately a celebration of love in all its messy, beautiful glory. It's about Wai Tung, a Taiwanese-American man who stages a sham marriage to appease his traditional parents, only to see the ruse fall apart in ways both hilarious and heartfelt. What really makes this remake particularly exciting is how it digs into questions of cultural identity and intergenerational dynamics. Andrew Ahn assures through direction that these themes don't just add depth, they resound with anyone who has ever felt torn between roots and true self. Is there a point in your life when you had to choose between pleasing your family and following your heart? This film dramatizes that struggle in both relatable and uniquely Sapphic ways. Starring Lily Gladstone, Kelly Marie Tran, and Bowen Yang, The Wedding Banquet is more than just a 2025 remake. It's a rebirth with some of the finest actors of our time. Lil Gladstone brings in quiet strength and emotional depth to her role, while Kelly Marie Tran turns up the warmth and charm as her co-star. And Bowen Yang, comedic genius who seamlessly poises humor with heart-wrenching moments. These performances will have you laughing 1 minute and tearing up the next. It's the kind of emotional roller coaster you don't want to miss. So, why should The Wedding Banquet 2025 make the must-watch list of this year? Because it is an exquisitely told tale of love to celebrate the beauty of truth. Secondly, it's one poignant reminder about how vital family is in even complicated times. Lastly, this is a representation to remind the world of the leaps and bounds in LGBTQ+ cinema movies that now seem meaningful and yet joyful. 2. The Legacy of Fear Street. Listen close. Prom night has just gotten a lot chillier. We're taking a detour into the shadowy world of Fear Street. Prom Queen 2025, the latest installment in the Fear Street series. If you're a fan of high-stakes drama, LGBTQ+ representation, and heart-pounding thrills, then trust us, you don't want to miss this one. A mix of horror, teen drama, and a hint of nostalgia, the Fear Street franchise has entertained audiences for a long time. From being the face of a favorite book series created by R.L. Stine, it found a new life with gripping stories and diverse characters on screen that keep us asking for more. Now, with Prom Queen 2025, director Matt Palmer whisks us away to 1988, a time of big hair, neon lights, and one high school prom that no one will ever forget. But this is not your regular prom story. A chilling tale of jealousy, secrets, and revenge, with an added Sapphic twist that deepens the tension of the narrative. Think you've seen it all in all forms of the horror tropes? Well, think again. This movie provides the scares and representation for those coming into view. Backstory. Fear Street. Prom Queen, 2025, tells the story of a prom night in high school that turns deadly, with one supernatural event happening after another. Around it all, there are two young ladies who happen to be lesbians and find themselves torn between their own struggles and evil forces wreaking havoc around them. What makes this film so compelling is how it interweaves Sapphic representation into a high-stakes horror narrative. They aren't token characters. These are main stage characters with arcs as emotionally deep as they are terrifying. Can love survive when the past comes back to haunt you? Literally. That's the question this movie dares to ask. The cast that plays in Fear Street, Prom Queen, 2025, is as stimulating as the tale itself, with India Fowler, Susanna Sun, and Fina Stratzer leading the pact with different varieties of vulnerability, strength, and no-holds-barred emotion. And with Matt Palmer at the helm, who has never failed to marry suspense with character-driven storytelling, we are in for a treat. What's even better is that it is not all about scares. Rather, it digs deep into identity, love, and how far a person will go to protect the things that mean most. Great horror isn't about jump scares. It's about characters you root for, even when the odds are against them. And this cast delivers in spades. Why should Fear Street Prom Queen 2025 be on your watch list? First, because it is a great new addition to the Fear Street universe in which you truly sit at the edge. Second, because it is truly one of the very few horror films with legitimate storytelling involving Sapphic characters as its backbone, and it deserves a night full of popcorn. It has a film full of nostalgic tone and breath with a breeze of fresh take on the chilling horrors of the 80s. Our next pick is What It Takes to Make It to the List. It's a film that not only narrates a powerful Sapphic story, but also breaks new ground for its regional cinema. Presenting Cactus Piers, Sabah Bonda, 2025, a poignant and unforgettable drama. From the director, Rohan Parashuram Kanawade, comes another film titled Cactus Pears, but no less than a milestone. This Marathi-language drama marks one of its kinds to compete at the prestigious Sundance Film Festival. And trust us, it's got all the makings of a cinematic gem. A story laced between self-discovery and cultural expectations, with the tender, quiet intricacies of Sapphic love, set in the vibrant landscape of Maharashtra. This film poignantly eternalizes the trials two women experienced due to the challenge of their love in conservative society. But what really differentiates this film is its search for beauty in the banal. In the subtlety of emotions, in quiet moments, the director opted for an option which made this story so personal and powerful. Sometimes the loudest stories are told in whispers. Cactus Pears is a film that will stay with you long after the credits roll. With its stunning cinematography and heartfelt performances, this movie is a love letter to anyone who has ever dared to love against all odds. If you're ready for a story that feels raw, real, and deeply resonant, Cactus Pears is a must-watch. 5. Lesbian Space Princess, 2025. Now, enough with the emotional drama. Let's dive directly into space with Lesbian Space Princess 2025. This Australian animated comedy is something totally different. It's funny, colourful, and oh so relatable in the most intergalactic way possible. Helmed by the genius duo of Emma Hough-Hobbs and Leela Varghese, this follows the hilarious misadventures of an anxious space princess on a mission to rescue her ex-girlfriend from Sit back the straight white Malians. Yep, you heard it right. That itself, if anything, should be good enough to intrigue many. If not, I do not know what will. It's not just a love story, but an intergalactic roller coaster of self-discovery, wacky humour, and reminding one that, yes, in the vastness of space, love knows no bounds. What really makes Lesbian Space Princess special, though, is how incredibly it balances silliness and comic absurdity with a lot of heart. Wrapped up in the ridiculous premise is a magnificent story of courage, identity, and love prevailed. Plus, the animation is just beautiful and inventive, coloring the galaxy in manners that leap right off the screen. I mean, who wouldn't root for a princess battling space invaders while navigating ups and downs of ex-girlfriend drama? A movie that's won highest praise for originality and charm, even well ahead of its general release in 2025, with a first showing at the Adelaide Film Festival in 2024. Whether it be here for the laughs or the feels, Lesbian Space Princess is one movie you absolutely cannot miss. After all, who wouldn't want to travel to the stars for a Sapphic love story that's truly out of this world? 6. Jimper. Our next pick, Jimper, 2025, is a heartfelt Australian drama that's bound to tug at your heartstrings. Featuring the incomparable Olivia Colman, this film explores the deeply emotional and sometimes complex bonds of family, identity, and acceptance. Jimper is essentially a film about the life of a non-binary teen trying to reconnect with his estranged gay grandfather. It is the generational difference and a love that finally finds commonality against odds. With Olivia Colman at the helm, you already know you're in for a masterclass in acting. With such incredible nuances and depths brought to each and every character she has portrayed, this is going to be long pondered once the credits roll. What really makes Jimper special, however, is how it bridges the gap between generations and celebrates queer identities in all their richness. A story of understanding, redemption, and healing through the power of family, even the kind that feels a little broken. One that did resonate was the scene where Jimper, as a teenager, finds the confidence to come out to his grandfather. It's raw, honest, and so well written. Set to premiere at the Sundance Film Festival in January 2025, this film has already been generating buzz as one of the festival's most poignant entries. If you're a fan of character-driven dramas that pack an emotional punch, Jimper is definitely one to keep on your radar. This isn't just a movie, it's a reminder of how love and understanding can transcend generations, even in the face of adversity. We've seen some beautiful portrayals of family and identity. But now, let's move on to something light and fun. Next up is a Sapphic rom-com sure to make you smile. 7. Carol, 2015. Now our time machine takes us back to revisit one true classic, Carol, 2015. Set amidst the gorgeous, repressed 1950s, this romantic drama visualizes the bittersweet beauty that forbidden love takes. Boasting Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara as its leads, Carol is quite rightly one of the most beloved Sapphic films of all time, and for good reason. At its core, Carol narrates the story of an aspiring photographer, Therese, who finds herself irresistibly drawn to Carol, an older woman navigating a painful divorce. Their relationship blossoms into a profound love, but it's set against the backdrop of societal expectations and personal sacrifices. Sure, what gives Carol its timelessness is how well it captures the quiet intensity of love, that glancing, unspoken word that relays so much. Add the brilliant performances courtesy of Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara, and it becomes a masterpiece of the highest level. Director Todd Haynes has framed every shot in this movie as if it were a painting. From the bleaker tones of New York winters to the richness of Carol's wardrobe, texture further deepens the emotional depth of this story. It's a delicate, beautiful-to-read love letter, somehow tender and harrowing at once. Who could forget Carol's iconically delivered lines? "What a strange girl you are, flung out of space." It's a moment that's as tender as it is electrifying. Though Carol hit the theatres almost a decade back, its dimensions of love, courage, and self-realization are as relevant as anything else. All this movie has talked about is Sapphic love, and how this authenticity would be faced with adversity and is a struggle. If you haven't seen Carol yet, well, here's one. Just get ready with your warm blanket and steaming hot tea while this classic romance takes over your senses.
We just revisited that classic. Now next we talk about a thrilling Sapphic thriller that surely will keep you on the edges of your chair. Stay tuned.
8. Portrait of a Lady on Fire, 2019. Few films have managed to capture the essence of forbidden love, as well as Portrait of a Lady on Fire from 2019. This French historical drama has become a modern masterpiece, praised for its dazzling cinematography, hauntingly beautiful storytelling, and an unforgettable exploration of the female gaze. Set during the 18th century, the story is about one artist commissioned to paint the portrait of a young maiden, Eloise, soon to be married, clandestinely. So, while Marianne continues to study her model in secret for the portrait, bonds between the observer and her observed grow into a deep, very passionate, very strong connection that really is beyond constraints. But what really makes Portrait of a Lady on Fire special is how it tells its story with silence and subtlety. Every glance, every touch, every stolen moment has something almost poetical about it. And if anything, the female gaze brings that intimacy found there, making the rare quite revolutionary. Director Céline Sciamma delivers a masterclass in storytelling with a love story that feels achingly real. And the performances of Noémie Merlan and Adèle Haenel? Absolutely magical. The chemistry lights up the screen, as every scene between Marianne and Eloise is impossible to remove your gaze from. Perhaps the most iconic line of the film comes from Marianne, when she says, "Don't regret. Remember." It's bittersweet, the reminder of love that remains long after it can't last. Besides its romantic plotline, Portrait of a Lady on Fire is an ode to art, memory, and the permanence of love. It's a film that stays in your heart long after the credits roll and finds its place on every Sapphic cinema lover's list. If you are in the mood to watch a love story with the feel of a masterpiece coming alive, then Portrait of a Lady on Fire will indeed leave you spellbound. From the silent intensity of Portrait of a Lady on Fire to something modern that is equally captivating. Stay tuned for the final pick in our countdown. 9. The Handmaiden, 2016. Rounding out our list is a film that effortlessly marries romance, suspense, and intrigue in a most masterful way. The Handmaiden, 2016. This South Korean psychological thriller was directed by Park Chan-wook and based on the book Fingersmith by Sarah Waters, but with the brilliant twist of whisking the action away to 1930s Korea under Japanese colonial rule. The story in the center is the handmaiden of devious doings, of the forces involved to realize passionate objectives. Story. Conning in every pickpocket was contracted for her consanguine qualities into camouflage with facial masking in presenting oneself before one called a woman and servant named Hideko of Wealth, one Japan, heir to be securities by deception forte fortune steal. But not exactly a thriller, but about flipping Suki on conmans consorts him upon acquaintance to find H at core depravity as depicted. What really sets The Handmaiden apart, however, is the multi-layered storytelling. Park Chan-wook crafts a story of plot twists and hidden secrets where nothing is what it seems. The romance is as bold as it is tender, an electric connection between two women who tear expectations apart in every way set upon them. But beyond its engrossing plot, the movie's a feast for the eyes, the detailing in costume to sprawling settings, the world impressively seductive yet unsettling at once. And performances by Kim Tae-ri and Kim Min-hee, absolutely swoon-worthy. The chemistry could be felt palpably. Hence, every glance and touch between Sukhi and Hideko burns with intensity. The Handmaiden is also about independence and liberation, as both women get out of the bonds of the men in their lives. It's a story that's as empowering as it is thrilling. If you're in the mood for a film that combines edge-of-your-seat tension with a deeply satisfying Sapphic romance, The Handmaiden is a must-watch. It's bold, it's beautiful, and it's unlike anything else on this list. 10. Blue is the Warmest Color, 2013. Last but not least on the list is one that became a cultural phenomenon upon its release. 2013's Blue is the Warmest Color. This coming-of-age French romantic drama plunges headfirst into a sea of love complications, identity, and self-discovery to paint a deeply intimate, unforgettable portrait of two young women and the highs and lows of their romance. The story follows Adele, an incomplete high school student, until she meets Emma, a confident, blue-haired artist who introduces her to passions and possibilities she had never considered before. The film then unravels into a very emotional ride of love, heartbreak, and personal growth. Blue is the Warmest Color is known for its raw, unbridled storytelling. It doesn't save anything for modesty in recreating the umph of love, pleasures and pains alike. Sure, the lovemaking scenes are explicit, but they're shot with profound emotion, capturing their depth of feeling between Adele and Emma. Léa Seydoux and Adele Exarchopoulos give performances of a lifetime in manners so tenderly capturing the vulnerabilities and passion of the characters that it would be deeply personal. Their chemistry is electric, and that is what ultimately makes the movie resonate deeply with audiences. It's one of those lines that strikes in the film when Emma tells Adele, "I have infinite tenderness for you, and I will my whole life." It's a line that somehow manages to get at the beauty and the pain of the love that forms you. While the film has created debates regarding graphic content and ways to portray queer relationships, there's really no way of denying the cultural impact this film has achieved. Blue is the Warmest Color is an intense investigation into love with all its messy and beautiful complexity. It is surely a must-watch for the lovers of unflinching and bold storylines. If you are ready for a movie that will tug at your heart and have you thinking about its themes long after the credits roll, Blue is the Warmest Color is unforgettable. Rounding out our list is 2017's Disobedience, a deeply affecting drama about love, faith, and the strength to break free from convention. This thoughtful film burrows deep into London's Orthodox Jewish community, into the bosom of tradition and the pang of forbidden desire. Helmed by Sebastian Lelio and starring Rachel Weisz and Rachel McAdams, Disobedience tells the story of Ronit, who returns home upon her father's death, a reputed rabbi. It is an event that sees her confront just about the one community she's been trying to keep away from to meet her childhood friend Esti, now married to another man. It's not just a love story. Disobedience is a powerful exploration of identity and struggle between personal freedom and expectations from society. It's a film about love with sacrifice and about resilience in living your truth. The two Rachels Weisz and McAdams invoke a powerful performance that gives way to raw, vulnerable edges. Their chemistry sizzles, and every frame between Ronit and Esti hums with repressed emotion in equal measure, longing and heartbreak. One unforgettable line comes when Ronit says to Esti, "We've always been seen, we've always been watched." It's a haunting reflection of how societal pressure can stifle even the deepest connections. Disobedience is not afraid to dig into the knotty questions of faith, tradition, and longing. This film dares ask those uncomfortable questions that linger within you long after it is over. Rich emotional depth in anything that combines tender romance with a dose of it would definitely be a must on any bucket list for watchers. So if you're looking for a Sapphic film that's as compelling as it is heartfelt, Disobedience is one to add to your list. Prepare to be moved. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, our top 10 Sapphic movies worth binge-watching in 2025. From the swooning romance in Portrait of a Lady on Fire to palpable emotional depth in Disobedience, these films remind us why Sapphic stories matter. Which ones are you most excited to see or re-see? Let us know down in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe to Sapphic Nook, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on more Sapphic cinema recommendations. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time, right here in your cozy corner for Sapphic love stories. Until then, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep celebrating love in all its beautiful forms.